Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. If you're just joining us, during the earlier rumor, we were talking about Des Bryant. He was on the Pivot podcast with Ryan Clark, Channing Crowder, and Fred Taylor.
Salute to my guys, man. Salute to everybody over there at the Pivot, man. Love what they do. One of my favorite podcasts to listen to. They, I told Ryan this a long time ago. I think I said it when I even did the Pivot. Like, they really have created a safe space, you know, for men to go and be vulnerable. You know, if you've ever seen like the Michael Beasley conversation, or you know, you saw the recent Des Bryant conversation, you know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm. Well, he got a chance to talk about breaking generational curses, and this is what Des Bryant said.
Let me read something. It's been on my phone for about, since I met y'all, it's probably like 6 years. You know? Just say, break generational curses. Quit yelling at your kids before they go to bed and expect them to sleep well. Quit yelling at your kids in the morning right after they wake up before school and expect them to have a good day. You set the tone for your children. You set the tone for your voice that they will always remember in their heads. You become their inner voice. Don't be their inner critic. Speak life, speak love, speak bravery, kindness and hope. Speak wisdom and truth. Most of all, listen to your children. I never had none of that. I get that to mine. And that's my number one priority. I follow that. That's how I break it. And I do it, I live it. I live it.
So we're opening up the phone lines, 800-585-1051. Just talking about what's your thoughts after hearing Des Bryant talking about how he feels about his kids and probably how much trauma it probably brought back to him, because he probably was yelled at before he went to sleep. He probably was yelled at before he went to school, and
clearly,
how it's affected him and how it's affected him throughout his life, you know? Yeah,
man, listen, it reminds me of the statement, if you didn't come from the quote, if you didn't come from a healthy family, make sure a healthy family comes from you. Everything Des said, you know, hit home, you know, not just hit home, you know, because what my inner child, you know, felt when he said those words, but, you know, it hit home, you know, me being a parent now, which is why in those moments when I do fall short and, you know, I yell at my kids for something, I do something that I never got when I was a kid, when I used to get yelled at, and that was, you know, an apology. You know, I apologize to them sometimes because, well, most of the time, because of everything Des Bryant said, because I don't want to be their inner critic. I don't want them to think of me and my words to them, you know, and feel down about that or feel insulted. I want them to get strength from my words. I want them to feel empowered by my words, you know, which is why when you're a father of a young daughter or young daughters like I am, you tell them they're beautiful. You tell them you love their complexion. You tell them you love their hair. You tell them they're brilliant. You tell them they can achieve anything, because that's the stuff that they're going to remember.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, I do discipline my children, and I was always taught when you discipline, you do it out of love, right? You don't do it because you're having a bad day. You don't do it because of something that's going on in your life. You do it out of love. And I think that's the one thing I would say that as parents, we need to do more. When we make a mistake and when we're wrong, we apologize, right? Because, you know, a lot of times people feel like apology is you're being weak. But no, apologizing is being strong. You understand what you did was wrong, and you're apologizing, and you're telling your kids, this is not the way that you're supposed to be acting. Now, when it comes to my kids and they do something wrong, I explain to them what it is so they understand. They just don't think that I'm taking something away, or they're getting yelled at, or there is a problem because of something that they don't understand why. And I think as a lot of times as children, we don't understand why we were, you know, in trouble or why our parents said no. But I think when you break it down and you explain it, I think they gain more trust for you as a parent, because now they understand why you're looking out for them.
I'll be honest with you. I always knew I was getting in trouble as a kid. Like kids ain't that clueless now. Kids know when they ain't got no.
But like sometimes, like for instance, last night, you know, I had a shout out to my son Jackson. For Christmas, my daughter came home. Madison came home, and she plays Fortnite a lot, so he's into Fortnite now, and he's almost addicted to Fortnite. Like, he plays so much, so I had to pull him back off of Fortnite. I pull him back off his video games. So last night I go in his room and the video game is up, and I'm like, bro, we just had this conversation, but he took it as, Dad, you said don't play Fortnite, but I'm playing Madden. It's two different things, you know what I mean?
That's just a conversation.
But it's just a conversation. But, you know, he didn't necessarily get it. So when I explained to him what it was, he was like, all right, I thought you just meant don't play Fortnite.
By the way,
I know.
He know good and well what he was doing.
Absolutely, he knows.
Please. But that goes back to my point. That's my point.
Absolutely.
He know damn well he wasn't supposed to be playing no video games, period.
Absolutely.
He just hit you with the wordplay, and you fell for it. Boy, you are really clueless.
No.
That's what we are realizing.
Nah, it's not.
Envy is clueless. Envy can get got. I want y'all to. Envy gets got so easily.
No, shut up. Shut up.
Just go to the phone.
You play
Just go
too
to the
much.
phone.
You play too much.
Just go to the
You
phone.
play too much.
Just go to the phone.
No. But what I was saying was we had a conversation about why I wanted him to stop playing video games because he was missing out on life. He was missing out on family things. He was missing out on the most important things, and he understood it. That's what the point was. Let's go to the phone lines. My computer's down now, so hopefully this is taping. Hello, who's this?
This is Marie.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
How did you feel when you heard that, Marie?
I agree wholeheartedly what he's saying, 100%, because I do feel like what our parents used to do with us or how they spoke to us do affect us in the long run. So I grew up like very strict, very stern. I'm Puerto Rican, so it was like, we was on punishment, you kneel down with your hands on the wall, you hold encyclopedias and stuff. So I try my best to be different with my son, but it is difficult sometimes to break those characteristics that, because I feel like now if my mother wasn't stern and if she wasn't the way she was, then me and my sister wouldn't be how we are today. So I try not to definitely hit my son, but these new kids, they have like a different outlook on things. They very much entitled. So sometimes as parents, we do get tired of talking. And I tell my son all the time, like, don't think I like yelling at you. Don't think I like giving you punishment. But I do have to discipline you and let you know that you can run over me. You won't be able to do what you want to do. But I do feel like we need to breathe more life, encourage our kids, uplift them, and be open with them and have those conversations and even let them express to us how they feel. Like I always tell my son, if I make you feel a way, be okay with telling me. I have no problem with apologizing to my son. I feel like a lot of parents do, but that's how we teach our kids to take accountability and to also be proud of the things that they do.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Mama, for sharing your story. Hello, who's this?
It's Carlos.
Carlos, good morning. What did you think after you heard that, brother?
Well, for Desi Banks, I do understand what he means as far as don't yell at your kids before they go to school. Expect them to have a good day. I understand
who did you say just now?
Desi Banks, right?
That was Des Bryant, man. Des Bryant.
Oh, Des Bryant. My bad.
There's a huge difference between Des Bryant and Desi Banks.
Ex-football player.
My apologies.
Go ahead, bro.
Okay, yes.
I get it. But what I'm saying is that what he's dealing with, that's his level of trauma, right? That's something that he went through, and he's trying to correct that in his life. And I absolutely understand that. I agree with it. Good for him. But the only thing that I'm trying to say is I don't think that most people just yell at their kids for nothing.
No, a lot of people do. A lot of people do. And the reason a lot of people do is because, what people don't think about it, when you're stressed out, right, and you have a lot of stress, whether it's work, whether it's just the outside world, whether it's financial, whether it's family, most of the times you take it out on the closest people to you, which is usually your wife and your kids. And most people don't think about it, but they usually do.
I think what he's saying is I get what you're saying, my brother, on the phone, but I think sometimes there can be an overreaction based off everything Envy just said. Like, you know what I mean? Like you might yell at your kids for something that doesn't necessarily need that level of yelling volume.
Right. Of that level of discipline.
Absolutely. And I agree with that 100%. And I think that's probably why I was kind of sort of looking at surface level, if I'm saying this correctly, because I'm also not trying to disregard what he's saying. I'm just using it as an example to say surface level. Like if my kid did something wrong, I'm going to talk to him a lot more stern, whether it's before bed or before school, to make sure he just understands the point. Like, hey, you may have done something wrong.
Yeah,
and I think that's probably just me and the way I operate in my home.
Okay. Well, thank you, brother.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's not even just the yelling. It's what's being yelled. It's the things you say to your children before they go to sleep, or the things you say to them before they go to school. Like, I think a lot. We just gotta speak more life into our kids, man.
800-585-1051. We're talking about Des Bryant. He did an interview on the Pivot podcast. And he was talking about breaking generational curses. We're going to play it when we come back and just asking your thoughts. It's the Breakfast Club. Good morning. morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. If you're just joining us, we're talking about Des Bryant. He was on the Pivot podcast. He was talking about breaking generational curses, and this is what he said.
Let me read something. It's been on my phone for about, since I met y'all, it's probably like 6 years. You know? It say, break generational curses. Quit yelling at your kids before they go to bed and expect them to sleep well. Quit yelling at your kids in the morning right after they wake up before school and expect them to have a good day. You set the tone for your children. You set the tone for your voice. They will always remember in their heads. You become their inner voice. Don't be their inner critic. Speak life, speak love, speak bravery, kindness and hope. Speak wisdom and truth. Most of all, listen to your children. I never had none of that. I get that to mine. And that's my number one priority. I follow that. That's how I break it. And I do it. I live it. I live it.
Powerful, man. Powerful.
So we're asking 800-585-1051. What are your thoughts? Let's go to the phone lines. We have Abigail on the line. Abigail, good morning.
Morning. How are you?
How are you feeling? What's your thoughts, Mama?
My thoughts are, I honestly, to be transparent, both my parents are deceased. So those conversations I needed to have in order to heal my inner child, I don't have the luxury to have those conversations now as a woman. But now being a single mom with my daughter, I felt that therapy equipped me with the right tools in order to address the childhood, the inner child that needed to be healed, honestly. So I think, people should take that next step and be vulnerable enough and open up. And it's okay to feel how you want to feel. It's just how you express it.
I wholeheartedly agree. I mean, that's the other beautiful thing about what Des Bryant says. When I hear him talking, I hear a brother that's been doing the work. Simple as that. He's clearly been going to sit down with somebody, a therapist, a psychiatrist. He's clearly been going to do the work on himself.
And that's the most amazing thing about everything is he understands what his problems, what triggered it, what his trauma was, and he dealt with it early. So he didn't pass it on to his child, which is the most important thing.
If you listen to the Pivot Convo, I think Fred asked him how he was doing, and he goes, "Better than I was last time I saw you." That's an honest answer, and that lets me know he's doing the work. Salute to Des, man.
Stephanie, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Stephanie.
What's your thoughts, Stephanie?
Yes, I just appreciate what he stated. I was really listening to you guys this morning, and when he said, be your children's inner voice and not the inner critic,
man,
that just touched me because when I'm getting my children ready in the morning with my baby boy, sometimes he upset me. He don't want to get up, and so, or he's doing something, and I'm like, get yourself together because you don't want to go to school upset. I know if I get on his top, or, if I upset him, who wants to go to school crying, right?
Right.
And so when he say, hey, break generational curses, I knew my people loved me for sure, but I didn't get that good morning. I didn't get that, when you're walking out the door, I love you. It's just like we knew we were loved, but it was never that. And so I just give that to my boys. We say we love each other going in and out, whether it's to the store, down the street, whatever.
That's right.
And also, my oldest son, he would tell my brother, my brother said a couple of years ago, he was like, my nephew taught me how to love. He stated, when he told me I love you and walked off, he said he just stood there because he didn't get that as a kid, and so I knew that wasn't in our home like that. Now, don't get me wrong, like I say, we were loved for sure, but it was never said, and I try to set the tone for them. I'm not saying that, they're going to go well all the time, but, coming from home, you'll have a good day.
Man, you ain't telling no lies.
Well, thank you, Mama. And what's the moral of the story, man?
The moral of the story is if you didn't come from a healthy family, make sure a healthy family comes from you. Now, there's a lot of things that young lady said just now that hit home for me because, you have to do that, right? Like, you have to constantly say in your house, I love you. Let people know I love you because, that wasn't how I got it growing up either. But I keep telling us the reason we got to give our parents and the adults that raised us grace is because we truly are the first generation that has the luxury of healing. The generation before us, they was just trying to survive. Like, think about how you just trying to survive so much that you're not even stopping to tell people in your house, I love you.
Right.
You just on the go, trying to figure out how to keep the lights on in this place. You know what I mean? Keep the roof over the head. You're not even thinking about like just simple everyday things, like just telling the people around you that you love them. Like, damn, man.
And like you said, if you do have kids, never think you're doing too much. Always tell your kids you love them. Always tell your kids good morning, how beautiful they are. Always compliment your kids. Give them the encouragement that they need, because this world is a horrible, dirty, nasty place.
Yeah, you want to be
if you don't do it, social media will do it in a negative way that will cause trauma and so many different things that hurt your child.
You should keep your kids off social media, but
and definitely and schooling as well.
But like Dad said, man, you want to be your kids' inner voice, not their inner critic.
That's right.
So speak words to them that's gonna give them strength and make them feel empowered.
That's right. All right, now when we come back, we got to talk about Boosie Badass. We tried to talk about this yesterday, but this story is kind of crazy. Boosie's trying to get married, and y'all won't let him. We'll break it down when we come back. It's The Breakfast Club. Good morning.
Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.